Welcome to tonight's video on the law of cosines. We will use the law of cosines when we're given side angle side, where the angle is between the two sides, or when we're given all three sides, side, side, side. So the law of cosines, depending upon what angle or side you are trying to find, the law of cosines is basically going to be the side opposite the angle that you're taking the cosine of squared equals, and then the sum of the two other sides squared minus 2 times the product of the two other sides times the cosine of that angle. So, for example here, let's say it says solve the triangle if A is equal to 60 degrees, B is equal to 20, and C is equal to 30. So first you want to draw the triangle. So we'll draw the triangle. Angle A is 60 degrees. Side B is 20. Side C is 30. There's A. So notice you have a side angle side situation. That means law of cosines. We'll try to find the side opposite the angle. So A first. So that means A squared is going to equal B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine A. So that means A squared is equal to 20 squared plus 30 squared minus 2 times 20 times 30 times cosine 60. All of this can be typed in your calculator. So you can go 20 squared. You gotta turn it on first. Squared plus 30 squared minus 2 times 20 times 30 times cosine 60. And that gives you 700. So that means A squared is equal to 700. And that means A is going to be the square root of 700. So you go second function and then the answer. And that gives you 26.45. You were rounding to the nearest tenth, so 26.5 is side A. Then, since we now know side A is 26.5, it wants us to use the law of sines to find the angle opposite the shorter of the given side, because that is always acute. So we're going to use find angle B. So we're going to go 20 over sine B equals, and then 26.5 over sine 60. So when you cross multiply, 26.5 times sine B equals 20 times sine 60. Then you divide by 26.5. So when you type that in your calculator, 20 times sine 60 divided by 26.5, and that gives you 0.654. So sine B is equal to 0.654. And then remember, you're going to go second function sine inverse of that answer, and that gives you the angle is 41 degrees. Then to find angle C, you'll take 180 minus 60 plus 41. So 180 minus 101, 79 degrees. There you go. You've solved the triangle. All right. Let's look at another example. This one where it's side, 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 where you're given all three sides. So here, it gives you, and we'll draw the triangle. Side A is 6, side B is 9, side C is 4. So now we have to find one angle, and we're going to use the law of cosines to find the angle opposite the longest side. So that in this case would be B. All right, so we're going to go B squared, so 9 squared, because remember B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine B. So it's going to be 9 squared equals 6 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 4 times 6 times the cosine of B. Now in your calculator, because you're going to type this all in at once, you can manipulate this by subtracting by 6 squared and by 4 squared. And then to get the cosine B by itself, you divide by negative 2 times 4 times 6. So when you type it in your calculator, you're going to type that in like this. So let's show you. So you're going to go 9, actually you're going to do parentheses. So 9 squared minus 6 squared minus 4 squared divided by, and then parentheses, we need the negative sign, negative 2 times 4 times 6. Hit enter, and that gives you a negative 0.604, and that's equal to the cosine B. And then when you do the inverse of that, you get 127.2. So it's basically 127 degrees is angle B. All right, so now you can use the law of sines to find one of the remaining two angles. So if I want to find angle A, I can go 6 over sine A equals 9 over sine 127. Cross multiply. And divide. So when you cross multiply and divide, you have 6 times sine 127 divided by 9. Is that? Yep. Equals 0.532. And then you take the inverse. 32 degrees for A. And then you find the third angle by subtracting. So angle C is equal to 180 minus 127 plus 32. So 180 minus 159 is 21 degrees. And that's angle C. So there you found all the missing parts. All right, you can also use the law of cosines to solve for word problems, like we did with the law of sines. Two airplanes leave LAX at the same time on different runways. One flies on a bearing of north 66 degrees west at 325 miles per hour. The other flies on a bearing of south 26 degrees west at 300 miles per hour. How far apart will the airplanes be after 2 hours? So here's the runway. So here's LAX. All right, and remember our bearings. We use the compass, north, south, east, and then west. Okay, so one plane goes 66 degrees west from the north. So it goes that way. That's plane 1. Plane 2 goes south 26 degrees west, right here, and then you want to figure out how far apart they will be after 2 hours. So x equals the distance the planes are apart after 2 hours. And remember, this is plane 2, plane 1. All right. So let me redraw this picture here. We have, if this is 66 degrees, then this little space here, 90 minus 66, would be 24. And if this is 26, then this space here would be 90 minus 26, which is 64. So 24 plus 64 is going to give you 88 degrees. So this angle here is 88 degrees. You could also have said 180 minus 66 plus 26 and gotten the same thing. All right, now it says that it travels 325 miles per hour. So 325 times 2 is going to give me 650. That's right here. And then this plane here travels 300 miles per hour times 2 hours. That gives you 600 miles that it's traveled. And this is what you're trying to find. So you're going to use the law of cosines, because x squared is going to equal 650 squared plus 600 squared minus 2 times 650 times 600 times cosine 88. So you can type that all in your calculator. 625 squared, actually 650 squared, sorry, minus 600 squared minus, actually sorry, it's plus, minus 2 times 650 times 600 cosine 88. And that gives you 755,278.4. And then remember, you take the square root of that to get x. and you get about 869.1 miles apart. All right, I hope that this was helpful, and it concludes our video for today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Have a good rest of your day.